some people might have an addiction, but as I say, you don't have to give them money. You can just give them food.
Sweet lemons.
Like, in terms of giving people money and that kind of thing, because I know obviously, like you said, it's important to remember, like, what would you do if you were homeless?
Yeah.
You might do drugs, you might turn to alcohol or whatever. And I guess maybe it says more about our society as a whole and our approach to narcotics, and that we kind of demonize people who take them or whatever. And we kind of say, well, that's the reason that you're homeless, is because you're taking heroin or you're taking meth, whatever.
It's not.
Yeah. But is that, what in that situation where people ask for money, do you think the right thing is to give what you can? Or is it that the money actually perpetuates the problem?
I mean, it's down to the person, really.
Yeah,
it's down to the person, what they can afford, what they can't afford, I mean, I would just say my advice would be just to look at them or even just talk to them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the worst thing about sleeping rough is people walking past you and ignoring you. And it's tough because, people have got their own shit going on in their life. So, you can understand why people would put their head down, especially if they can't afford to pay or anything. But imagine what that feels like for the person that sat on the street. The other day, I just gave someone a little bit of change, and he was crying his eyes out. And you don't know what someone's situation is. You just don't know. But you could actually just sit down and ask and talk to them and find out a bit more. Fair enough, some people might have an addiction. But as I say, you don't have to give them money. You can just give them food. The problem is I think people, rather than focusing on that, people really need to be focusing on, the local authorities that have funding, right, for these sorts of programs like recovery and stuff like that. People need to be contacting those people, or local councillors, and being outraged that the services that we've got in the city are just not working. Do you know what I mean? In terms of people recovering and stuff. And yes, fair enough, I've come through the system and I've recovered, but don't think it was the system and the support that did that. This was through my therapy. I've had a long-term therapist for 7 years, consistent, and people don't have any consistency because when they go to these places, the staff move on, and it's tough for people because really what you need if you're in recovery is consistency. Yeah. And really, you're just, they're Monday to Friday operations, what you're supposed to do at the weekend. And what are you supposed to do after 5 o'clock, know? And that's the problem, is we need people that are in our communities that are seeing this to really be sort of campaigning or getting involved and finding and just lobbying, sort of pressuring these organisations, the establishment, the councils, your MPs, just pressure them to change the system, because it's the system that's the problem. If we think about the NHS, let the NHS do what they do best, They do it best, they know how to help people, they know how to support people, and I'd really like to see some sort of merge between the NHS and our housing system and the recovery, because, if you look at the opium wars that happened many years ago in China, they had a lot of people addicted to heroin. And they managed to get that under control. And I think us as a society, we can do that ourselves through taxation.